times.
Roll your shoulders back a few times. Sorry, it's so hard for me to not laugh.
Laughing is good. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna ground.
Okay.
We're gonna
All
ground
right.
laugh.
Roll your shoulders back a few times. Now move your head nice and slow in some circles. Just notice any tension that you're carrying in your shoulders, in your neck, in your head. And we especially feel it more when we're under the weather.
Yes.
So this should be very helpful. And then don't forget a few times in the opposite direction. Beautiful. Good. And inhale your head all the way back. Now I want you to open your mouth and start to move your lower jaw around. And as you move your jaw, start to notice any tension you're holding on to in your jaw. Tension from saying things you regret, or perhaps tension from not saying the things you should. And then slowly come back to neutral position with your eyes closed. Let's begin with a long, slow, deep inhale through your nose if you can, gently filling up your belly, your chest, your heart, your lungs. And now open your mouth and sigh it out. Big sigh. Letting go of all negative energy, negative thoughts, negative emotions. Releasing whatever doesn't serve you in this moment. Let's do another cleansing breath. Deep inhale. And one more. And on your next inhale, go ahead and inhale in positive energy, positive thoughts, positive emotions. Inhaling in love, compassion, gratitude, and kindness. Open your heart, your mind, your body, your soul to receive all the beautiful love that is here for us. With each inhale, as you fill yourself up with love, on your next exhale, go ahead and send out love. Shower yourself with love, compassion, kindness, and most of all, gratitude. We are so quick to thank other people and even total strangers, but we never take enough time to thank ourselves, both verbally and mentally. So just take this moment to remind yourself of how amazing you are. Inhaling in love. And now on your exhale, go ahead and send out love to your family, your friends. Send out love to every living being, reminding ourselves of the beautiful connection and oneness we have with everything around us. Take a moment to actually use the mantra, I am love, and maybe add, I am healthy, just as we remind every cell in our body to go back to that beautiful vibrational frequency of love. You can as well go back to that beautiful place of healthy. With our thoughts, we create our world. And now just take a moment to set your intention. What is it you would like to accomplish today? What would you like to see or do? And sometimes your intention may simply be an emotion. My intention is to be happy and feel amazing all day. And then picture it in your mind. See your day unfold exactly how you would like it to be. With our thoughts, we create our world. Go ahead, take another long, slow, deep inhale. And on your exhale, you can slowly open your eyes.
That was delicious. I'm ready to go. Good night. That was so good.
You're
Thank
very,
you.
very welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
That was a lovely gift
Does,
and much
does that
needed.
say pause on your t shirt?
Yeah, pausa.
Pause means pause, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's such a powerful, powerful thing that most people don't do it enough, you know, because pause allows us to be proactive. Because most people are, are reactive because they don't pause. They don't stop for a moment to think about the words they're going to say, or what will happen, what is going to be the effect of their action, their next action. Pause.
Yeah. This t-shirt is actually from a friend of mine in Merida who owns a spa, and she's also a mindfulness meditation
Mm-hmm.
teacher. And so she's very big on pause. And you just enabled me and anybody else who's going to be watching this to
Mm-hmm.
pause. So thank you for that gift. And just like we have trouble thanking ourselves or thinking of ourselves, we know we need to
Mm-hmm.
pause. It's something that you're like, oh yeah, I know I need to pause,
Mm-hmm.
but we
But we
don't,
don't.
or we
That's
forget.
right. And we need reminders all over. And that's was that message was there for me, seeing it, reminding myself as well to pause. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad that we're doing this again, and now that I'm seeing you again, since the last time we spoke, I've been setting intentions in the morning more intentionally.
And how is that going?
It's good. It's good because when I set that intention and then something happens, an obstacle, a challenge, whatever, and then the reminder of the intention pops up, it's like, no, I set an intention to be this
Mm-hmm.
way, and I'm going to come back to that. Versus not really having a clear intention, and you're just kind of, life is just coming at you.
Mm-hmm. I would love to elaborate a little bit
Yeah.
since you did bring it up, and you know, I
Yeah,
spoke about
please.
intentions because everything we do, it's just so important, is the intention we have in what we're doing, the consciousness behind it. Uh, and that's what makes the difference between making money just so I can enjoy myself and my life and that's it, or wanting to make money so that I can help others, so I can do good. I can receive for the sake of sharing. Setting an intention on the food. Why am I eating this food? Am I eating this food because it's delicious and it tastes good and I just want to get my taste buds going for a moment and I get that momentary thrill in my brain? Or am I eating this in order to get more energy so that I can continue to do good work?
Yeah. I mean, especially with the food, from personal
Mm-hmm.
experience. I mean, everyone's different, but you appreciate food a lot more when you've experienced not having
Mm-hmm. Oh,
food.
wow.
And then
Big time.
you're like,
Mm-hmm.
just let's say thanks, even if we have plenty,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's, like
Mm-hmm.
overflowing, just never forget that you have it now and you might not have it tomorrow, and just be grateful for the moment, every
Mm-hmm.
moment.
That's beautiful. And let's go a step further. But the people who prepare the food, when they prepare it with intention of love, okay, when they imbue and they sprinkle love into the food, it tastes completely different. And this was actually a
Yeah.
study that was done with two amazing chefs. And one restaurant, the food was always amazing. The other restaurant was rated the same stars, the same Michelin, whatever it was, but it didn't have the same. It was missing something. And when they went into the kitchen, they saw that one chef was speaking to all the people in the kitchen with love and from a very positive place, where the other chef was just screaming at everybody and throwing dishes and cursing. And that was imbued into the food.
Yeah. Like the water experiment.
Dr. Emoto. I'm going to speak about him on Thursday when I do the new moon. We do the new moon cacao ceremony to bring in and set our blessings and our intentions for the month, this is a very powerful month. Very, very powerful. This is the 48-hour period where we can receive a light for the next 12 months. Um, and I talk about, we take the cacao and we take a moment to also bless it and imbue it with love, so the next person, and then we pass it to the next person. So everyone is getting a cup that's been blessed or is imbued with love and words, positive words and intentions. So when I'm drinking that, I am receiving that. I love Dr. Emoto.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see proof of your thoughts create your realities, because we're like what 60 something percent water
Mm-hmm.
also. So if you take that experience and you apply it to our bodies, our physical bodies, we're putting those energies and those frequencies into
Mm-hmm.
ourselves
So could you imagine if
and
we?
into other
It's right.
people.
So could you imagine if we have that, maybe on our hand or something? It says, "Remember what your words, your words affect other people. Your thoughts, your words affect other people." It says the next time you get angry at someone, maybe you think twice before you scream or let out a curse. Yeah.
Love. We're going to talk about
Okay, let's
love,
talk about love.
right?
Let's talk about.
I like where the conversation is going,
Mm-hmm.
just because we started with intention and then you said putting that intention into the food.
Mm-hmm.
And now, what about retreats? Like, can you tell when a retreat has been created with love,
Mm-hmm.
or any kind of event has been created with love? And what's the
Oh,
difference? How can
absolutely.
you
Because
tell?
the energy that's coming from the people and everything around it. And I'd love to share a story with you. So I've been a burner
Yes,
for many
please.
years. 2002 was my
Really?
yes,
Burning Man?
yes. 2002 was
That's
my
cool.
first year, but it was 2000. I have to remember what year it was. I'm not sure if it was 2014. I go back, but it was, I arrived on the playa um, 3 weeks early in order to help build the temple. And this is the year of the Temple of Promise. And so there are basically less than 300 people on the entire playa at this time. As soon as it starts, there's over 80,000 people. Um, but can you imagine, this 8 square miles and just 300 people? But what was amazing in building the temple, every morning there were 2 shifts. And before every shift, we all got together and we did a meditation. We talked about the intention that we're putting in while we are building the temple. Because if we put in intentions of love and compassion, the people are going to feel it. And that's what makes the temple so special all the years. Why is it such a haven for all religions, for everyone, even the people who don't have a religion? They're able to come there and feel something and share and let go and get something off of and out of their chest. It's because there's a beautiful energy that we've helped create when we built the temple. And that is true with everything we do. Before you build something, what's the intention? And the nail you drive in, the piece of wood that you're putting up, the roof, and that's the difference. You really, really feel the energy, and people do feel it. They really do feel it.
Have you ever been to a retreat or an event where there was no intention and you could tell
Oh,
right away?
I don't.
What,
I
so
don't.
like what is the
I,
difference? Is
I
it
mean, I'm not here. I'm here to really just speak positive, but I'll give you a good example. There was a retreat, and to me, it's about connection with the guests, the students, the clients. Super important. You're holding space for them. They're here for a reason, right? You have to understand that your time is now their time, and all these the hosts wanted to do is get away as quickly. Teach a yoga class and then disappear for the whole day. And I was there on site, and and next thing you know, they're all talking to me and asking me questions and spending time. And then the host would come back and, oh yeah, we're going to go take pictures at the ruins. So are you going to bring all the guests? He says, no, 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 no. We just want to go ourselves, do some photo shoots. Okay, okay. I'm not going to judge them, but it was felt. It really was felt where
Yeah.
their interest was solely themselves, and that was such a beautiful case of receiving for the self alone. So yes, so there's a super difference when you come with intention of, I'm here to host these beautiful souls because they're here for a reason. They're here
Mm.
because they know they have to do some inner work. Beautiful question.
And what does it mean to do something with love? Thank you.
So do something with love. Okay. So here's a beautiful story. Um, when I was in the Ojai, California, went to um, a weekend um, to learn about the way of counsel. And since then, I've studied it as well, and I've participated in Oglala Lakota and Shumesh. And my teacher, my mentor, Bobby Klein, he spent years with the Hopis. Um, and the way of counsel was they talked about when you're in a meeting, you speak from the heart and you listen from the heart. Okay. So speaking from the heart, everybody is so quick to say, oh yeah, speak your truth. Always be honest. Tell the truth. Don't hold back in terms of what it is that you really feel you need to share. Okay. And let it come from your heart. Let it come from a place of love. But most people forget what it means to listen with your heart. And that means mindfulness. That means that when you're speaking, I'm giving you 100% of my attention. I'm hearing everything you're saying. And it's sad because even I, most of my life, the moment you start speaking, I'm already thinking of all the retorts and all the answers I can give you. So I'm not even hearing half the things you're saying. Right? But that's what we do, right away, especially when it comes to corporate world where everyone's trying to get ahead. So they're going to think of a good, another option, another solution, or to knock you down. Sadly, but in council, nobody was allowed to speak unless they had the talking stick, and the talking stick would go around to person. So you were not allowed to speak, even if you had something to say about what that other person said. You had to wait till you got the talking stick, and you didn't want to occupy your time about speaking about the other person because you had a message as well. So I think listening from the heart also became very, very important, and that's what I try to do in in the retreats that I lead. Um, is teaching people how to listen to other people, because everybody has a beautiful message to share. Everybody is a teacher deep down inside, and we can learn so much from each and every person there. And that's what I learned, and that's what I try to do. Is we're not only students, but we are teachers. So you're coming to the retreat to not only be inspired and to grow personally and find self-love, but you're there to hopefully inspire others.
That's beautiful. I love that. And it sounds like, I mean, doing things with love can mean pausing, going slower, being mindful, listening really resonates with that. Like in order to listen, you need to pause, you need
Mm-hmm.
to move your own thoughts to the side for a moment and just listen to someone the way you would want to be heard.
So
No?
I love, you're so amazing because you're like handing me so many beautiful things. It's like you're reading my
Okay,
mind.
good.
So, and that's what, um, and this is again, Bobby Klein um, would always end, and because of him, I do it as well. We end with a Mayan saying of "In Lakesh Halakin," which means I am the other you. What I see is a reflection of me. What you see is a reflection of you. And therefore, how do I want to treat the person I'm looking at? It's how I want to be treated. So that's with a pause.
But
I'm
then,
sorry?
yeah. But then there comes the issue or the challenge of, if you don't have self-love and self-acceptance, if you haven't cultivated that, you might not know how to do that because you haven't done it for yourself first.
Is that a question? Is that a point?
It's
I know you're leading me. I think
I'm
it's,
just
I
giving
know,
you
I
another
know.
platter. I'm
Okay.
just saying, how about
Okay.
this? How about
All
this,
right.
Ellie? How
All
about
right. Thank
this?
you. Oh, that's delicious. I receive with love. So, yeah. So, yes. And that's the root of so many issues in the world today is the lack and loss of self love. The most important love is your love of yourself. First and foremost, we have to love ourselves. How do you expect others to love us if we don't love ourselves? How do we know what it means to love someone else when we can't even love ourselves? We may,
But isn't that selfish?
what, to love ourselves first?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point. But if we just go back to in lakesh alakin, I am the other you. So when I treat you with love and respect and gratitude, it's coming back to me as well because that's how I want to be treated. So hopefully that's why we talk about acts of service and volunteering as also as a healing process for people who are depressed and going through depression, because when you're helping others, it elevates you. You start to feel good. You look at what you're doing, and so maybe it's selfish because I'm helping others because I want to feel good, but ultimately the good is there. That's a good point. I love it.
We didn't talk about you yet. We kind of just like went into
Forget
this
about me.
intention and love and all. No, but I think you have a really great story. So we should how tell me about your journey with self-love, and how did you make it to this I am love idea that you share now?
So, all right. So briefly, um, grew up, born and raised in New York, and I actually worked on Wall Street for 20 years in a big, huge bank, investment bank, and also was an institutional sales trader. And I lived that very fast life and I was very quick to anger, very quick to judge others. Um, the pause was always missing. um, and and 14 years ago, I was forced to leave Wall Street. I was arrested and I went through a trying time. And it was at that point during my journey that I studied in India. I went to several ashrams to study. I also was a shepherd in the desert, tending to 300 sheep in the Middle East, um, and actually changed my life. It really taught me about presence and patience and stillness and about pausing. And and also one of the most important things also for me, because I was judging other people, is learning how to find goodness in everyone. Okay. And it actually is a Hebrew saying, don chaveiro lekav zchut, which means to judge others for their goodness. In other words, always find goodness, no matter what you see in that person, no matter what they're doing that you may perceive or others may perceive as negative or bad. Find goodness. Find that even that tiniest pinhole of goodness. And that's what I learned to do. Is I was able to find goodness in everything. So 10 years ago, I moved to Tulum. My spirit guides told me this is where I should be. And and I came with the most gratitude and openness and certainty. So everything that happened to me was a gift, teaching and practicing. Um, so I was living in that beautiful place. Um, but a year of living in Tulum, a little more, I actually got depressed again. And I can go into the science behind it as well and understand why, but the reason is because I started comparing, I started judging myself to other people, looking at where other people are and how far they've gone with money and with this or with that and fame. And that was my ego as well speaking. But because of that, I got depressed because I started saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, what am I doing? And I went to this spiral and I went back to my old habits because those are easier to do. So I was quick snapping at people, getting angry and cursing and judging. And I really didn't like who I become at that moment. But I was stuck. And I actually went to see Bobby Klein, and he was amazing. He said, Ellie, I'm going to give you the cure. I'm going to give you your medicine. He says, I'm going to give you a mantra, and I need you to say it at least 100 times a day for the next 2 to 3 weeks, and then come back and see me and see how you feel. And that's when he gave me the beautiful words mantra, I am love. Um, because love is not something you do, love is something you are. Love is a vibrational frequency. When you're vibrating and resonating at that beautiful frequency of love, joy, compassion, gratitude, every cell, trillions of cells in your body are vibrating and resonating to that frequency of love. Then every atom in your quantum field and beyond is now also vibrating and resonating to that beautiful frequency of love. So everybody around you, every living being feels that beautiful love coming from you, right? And without going deeper into quantum science and epigenetics but I started doing it day one, day two, day three. I am love, I am love, I am love. And it was the fifth day that there was this amazing change, and people came over to me, and they started noticing, and I saw a change in the way that people perceived me, and also a change in the way that I felt about myself and the way I felt about others. And people would say, hey, something different about you. And I asked them, I said, what it was. And they said, just, I'm calmer and I'm emitting this energy. They feel so much more love and compassion coming from me. And actually, I stopped cursing. I started finding goodness in everyone again. So I wasn't, judging again. And and I actually saw goodness in everyone. And it was amazing how it changed me. And it only took 5 days to get me out of that rut I was in. But I finished like 3 weeks, and then I started just doing it all the time. Then I started sharing it with other people. I said, if it can help me, why not share it with other people? I started sharing it with my clients and my students. And it's amazing to start to notice the difference because they started sharing that with me. And it's been now 9 years that I've been sharing. And actually, it's been so amazing to see transformations from um, to the smallest transformations to even the biggest to actual people who help them in such ways. I just received a note yesterday. Can I read it? All right,
Yes, please read.
let me find it. Here it is. Good morning, beautiful soul. Hope you are feeling wonderful today. I came to your workshop in Holistica almost 3 weeks ago or more, and I carry your magic with me. I am love. Uh, for sure, you can believe me, everything is shifting in my life. So many changes, challenges, all in a good way. I can feel my wings. Thank you so much for sharing
Wow.
your wisdom. Simple. You know, um, I have a lot of those. And you have to believe it. If you don't believe something, it's not going to work. And that's why in I'm sure you've heard of Dr. Bruce Lipton and Dr. Joe Dispenza, and they talk about these beautiful meditations and mantras of I am healthy, which I know there are
Mm-hmm.
actual terminally ill patients they use it with, and people who are sick. When I have a headache, I always like to meditate with "I am healthy, I am healthy." And if somebody has even a headache, but it's about reminding every cell in your body to go back to that beautiful state of healthiness. And that's what we did in the beginning with you. And the same thing with love. Remember, when your soul came down and took on this human spacesuit, the soul was vibrating at that frequency of pure love. So in ourselves, we already have that feeling and taste of pure love, pure unconditional love. But it gets diluted, it gets
Mm-hmm.
lost with everyone around us in our environment, throwing fear, that track of fear, which is negativity, anger, tension, stress, dis-ease, disorder, disability, judgment, attachments, blame, shame, guilt, ego. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
We get so far removed from that place of love, but also we start vibrating in that negative place of fear. So it's about how do we remind ourselves to go back to that place of love? Because we have it, it's in there. How do we find that self love again? As you said earlier, self love is the most important love we can have.
I'm getting deja vu. I don't, I mean, I know we talked about this before, but I don't know if we talked about the callus. And I don't remember where I heard it, if it wasn't with you, but it was something about, we come here with that pure love, but then we build this callus because, life situations, friends, family, whatever, beat us up, to not put it
Mm-hmm.
lightly, to not put it lightly. And then we develop this
Mm-hmm.
callus. But and that was necessary at a point where we weren't fully developed, our voice wasn't fully developed, our bodies, whatever. And then we come to this place where it's time to remove the callus. And it's painful to remove the
Mm-hmm.
callus and to expose the raw skin underneath again and like feel the wind on that raw skin,
Mm-hmm.
and it feels very
Mm-hmm.
vulnerable because I think a lot of people in the world, they want to feel that love, but the callus is too hard, and they're afraid to live without that callus because it's like, oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
exposed,
Mm-hmm.
and but yeah, what are your thoughts
So
on
you
that?
you just you just touched on Kabbalah, and Kabbalah talks about klipot, which is the same thing. A shell. What happens is that we're able to receive the light, but when the light is not there for the goodness, for receiving, for the sake of sharing, it goes to more of the negative side, and that's what builds these shells around us, and it makes it more and more difficult to receive any light. So we have to learn how to break that klipot. All right. It's also we've been hurt too many times, so we put up a wall and we don't want it. We're not we try to push whatever love we have away from us because we don't want to get hurt again. That fear. And it's about how do we learn to break the shell. It's uncomfortable. It's like the famous story of the lobster, right? A lobster.
What's the
So a
story?
lobster, what happens is a lobster starts to feel very uncomfortable, right? Because it's growing, its body is growing, but its shell is not. And what happens is it ends up going and hiding under some rocks underneath at the bottom of the sea, and and it goes through this very difficult, painful time because it's growing and its shell is holding its back and it's being squeezed and pressure and probably the most god awful headache, right? Until finally, what happens is the shell cracks and out comes a bigger lobster. We have to go through that difficult period. Okay, that's what all these challenges are put here for. We're given free will. Free will comes with those challenges and obstacles that we have to put up with. Everything happens for a reason, and we don't necessarily know the reason today. And we might say, oh my God, why is this happening to me? How come it's not happening to them? It's their fault. It's his fault, right? We use all many reasons instead of saying, wait a minute, okay, this is happening to me for a reason. It's an education. It's for a reason for me to grow. It's to help me grow. So I'm going through this trying time in order to grow and become even better than I was yesterday. And that's exactly. How do we break those klipot, those shells, in order for us to become even bigger and better and more humane than we were the day before?
And is this, I mean, I know this is what you teach or you guide people, you share with people to help them through. Going back to retreats, do you find that it's, I mean, you can have powerful moments in a one on one setting or even in a workshop, but is there something about retreats that makes that experience deeper, more powerful, or just like being going through it in community over a longer period of
Mm.
time versus just like a 1 hour workshop?
Oh, absolutely. So, first of all, you have to immerse yourself. Um, a 1 hour workshop is great, but the moment you get out of the workshop, you're pretty much back to your routine life. When you go on a retreat, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, some are 7 days, right? You're totally immersed in this bubble of wanting to change, and you're giving yourself the opportunity, allowing yourself to, and opening yourself to these ideas and these tools to help change yourself. That's,
Because that takes time
of
too,
course, it takes,
right?
what
To
again, it takes years and years and years. All right, I'll give you, and then we'll come back to the question. But the easiest example is, have you read a self-help book anytime in the past, recently? Of course,
yes.
right? What happens when we're reading the self-help book? Oh my God, this information is amazing. It says if I do this, I'm going to change. If I'm going to do right, and we even start telling our friends about all the things that we're going to be doing from now on because we're going to change. We want to become better people, right? We want to find that true love. We want to have, a peace or abundance, right? But what happens when we finish the book and we close the book? What happens a month, 2 months, 3 months later? Nothing.
Yeah, you forget. Just
You forget.
dwindles.
Exactly why? Because as soon as we hit an obstacle, we go back to our old habits and our old ways. Because change, it takes effort. It takes doing the work. Okay, nothing is there. There's no needle. There's no big. Let's get a pill or a shot, and boom, all of a sudden I'm a new person. It doesn't work like
Yeah.
that. Have to do the work. So, and the same thing with the self-help book. And I just want to end it because I love it. So and then 6 months later, you're walking by the bookshop and you see in the window another self-help book by a new best-selling author, and you get it and you're reading it. Now you're telling your friends about this one, and your friends are saying, "Hey, didn't you just read a self-help book?" You say, "Yeah, that one didn't work, but this one, this author, all the reviews are great." And there's a million self-help books in the world because everyone's doing the same thing. They're reading it. While they're reading it, it's like they feel good, boom, they close the book, they go back to their old habits. We don't want to do the work. And that's the same thing coming back to retreats. You have 5, 6 days to start these new habits, to using these new tools that we're giving you in order to help you find self-love and to do the inner work, right? But what happens is the same thing is we go back to the world, we go back to our job, we go back to our family, and boom, an obstacle hits, and boom, we go back to old habits. And that's why I feel integration and staying in touch with everyone is so important. Keep the communications, keep doing the work. This is so important. So that's one part. The second part is the reason why I feel in a retreat environment where there's a group of people, as I said earlier, we're all there not only to be inspired, but we're there also to inspire others. And I always talk about what our magic is, what our superpower is. And my magic and superpower is I'm able to help you bring out what your magic and superpower is so that you will become an inspiration and you will help the other people in the retreat. So you're not just there with one teacher, but all of a sudden you've got 10, 15, 20 teachers in the retreat with you. And you're going to learn something from you, something from me, something from him, something from her. So you're going to take all this with you. And you've created these beautiful relationships, and most of them stay in touch and relationships, and some very, very strong bonds have been created over the years.
Yeah, that's my favorite part. The family that you
Hmm.
create.
Yeah.
So I'm getting the brain fog again because it's the under the weather brain. So please excuse me. The brain fart will
That's
pass.
okay.
Just let it pass.
Pause, drink some tea, breathe. I
Yes,
am
I'm gonna
healthy. I
breathe.
am healthy. I am love.
I am healthy. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. So I guess I just want to ask you, what piece of advice would you give to people who are leading retreats, building retreats?
I think
What's just something that
I
comes
think
to
I
your
lost
mind?
you. Could you repeat the question?
Can you
Now
hear
I can hear
me?
you.
Okay. What's a piece of advice that you've learned on your journey as you do these retreats that you could give to somebody else who also leads retreats or organizes them or plans them?
Mhm. Um, Very simple. Number one, make sure it comes from a place of love. Make sure that you're really truly there for the right person, purpose, and reason. All right. If your goal is just to make money, that's what they're going to feel. And that's what's going to come out. But if your purpose is to actually truly help somebody, receive for the sake of sharing, the money will come, the abundance will come. But if that shouldn't be the focus, all right, focus on how can I show up the best version of myself for these wonderful souls who paid and came all the way here to be with me for this week. Okay, what's the best way? And come prepared and be open to be a student in your own retreat. All right, I've seen where leaders are just so they're ego driven, and it's hard to even to anyone to get in a thought or a comment. So be so open and be welcoming that everyone feels at home, feels the love coming from you. That gives them the environment that allows them to grow.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I mean, that's basically the essence of this entire conversation of just being love, doing things with love, and love will change the world. Love is the answer, as the Beatles
Love is the
said.
answer. All you need is love.
Yes. All you
All
need
you
is
need is love.
love.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay, well, I think unless there's anything else you want to say, we can end it
I think
there.
you're amazing.
You're having a
Oh,
retreat, right? In
yes.
May?
So May, I think it's the
We
May
need to talk.
24th. We're doing a journey into
Okay.
self-love. It's the actual time again to really go in deep within yourself, but it's you really have to want to do the work because I'm going to bring tools to you and I have some beautiful facilitators who will be joining me and 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 it's going to be amazing because it's here in Tulum. It's on the beach, and the food is amazing, and everything. The intention is love. So if you really are ready to do the work, but also enjoy yourself, because it's also about enjoying yourself with yoga, with beautiful ceremonies, and just enjoying swimming in a cenote and hanging out with everyone and journaling. Um, then definitely. I think we launch sometime this month, so keep an eye out. I guess this is where I get to say it's iamloveretreats.com. Um, and I think it's eliescheier.com. And I am love Tulum, I think, is the Instagram. I don't even know. I have to
I'm gonna put the links
yeah,
in the
I have to thank
description.
Mauricio because he's been awesome, and I don't even know what I just. So yes, thank you so much, Crystal. By the way, you know that
Thank you.
crystal
And
is one of my symbols, so it's funny.
what do you mean?
So if you um, Jungian psychology, and is a great. It's called the Book of Symbols, and you can actually see. And so, what you want to do is think about what are the things that resonate with you the most. What are the things when you look at a painting or you're walking in nature? What are the things that catches your eye first and foremost above anything else? Or when you're dreaming, what is something that's always coming again and again and again? So what I learned for me, it's trees, it's flowing water, crystals. These are a few of what really resonates with me, and those my symbols. So think about that. And these symbols
Oh,
could be anything. It could be a hand, it could be a finger. So it's just amazing. If you want, and then you want to share, I can give you a little bit of insight into what they represent. Anyway,
yeah. I
go
mean,
ahead. What?
uh, I was gonna say that that's awesome. I'm happy. I'm happy to be a mirror of your symbol.
Thank you.
With the few interactions that we've had, I already love you.
Thank you.
So yes, I
Thank
do.
you.
I see a lot of water, like dark water and
Mhm.
whales, humpback whales.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know
Well,
what that
that's for the
means,
next
but
conversation.
that is for the next conversation. Okay, Ellie, thank you so much for
Thank you
sharing your
so
love
much.
and
Thank you. You are love. You are love. Have
thank
a
you.
beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste.